a double tragedy introducing Tsutomu Yamaguchi. Tsutomu Yamaguchi lived through an experience so extraordinary, so harrowing, that it defies belief. His story is one of unimaginable survival and resilience. He survived not one but 2 atomic bombings, a feat that is almost beyond comprehension. This Japanese engineer found himself in Hiroshima on August 6, 1945, the day the United States dropped the first atomic bomb. The city was obliterated in an instant, yet Yamaguchi miraculously survived. 3 days later, he was in Nagasaki when the second bomb fell. Once again, he found himself at the epicenter of destruction and chaos. Yamaguchi's story is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. Despite the unimaginable suffering, he continued to live and rebuild his life. It's also a stark reminder of the devastating power of nuclear weapons and the importance of peace. The sheer scale of destruction serves as a powerful lesson for humanity. His experience, though unique, represents the suffering of countless individuals who lived through the horrors of atomic warfare. The scars, both physical and emotional, are a lasting legacy of that dark time. Through his ordeal, Yamaguchi became a symbol of survival and a vocal advocate for nuclear disarmament. He dedicated his life to ensuring that such a tragedy would never happen again. His story continues to resonate today, urging us to learn from the past and strive for a future free from the threat of nuclear annihilation. The legacy of Tsutomu Yamaguchi is a call to action for peace and understanding. The day Hiroshima burned, August 6, 1945, a day that would forever change the course of history. August 6, 1945, dawned like any other summer day in Hiroshima. The city was bustling with life, unaware of the impending catastrophe. Tsutomu Yamaguchi, a young engineer, was on a business trip for Mitsubishi Heavy Industries. He had just completed his assignment and was preparing to return home. As he walked to work, the blinding flash of the atomic bomb engulfed the city. The sky lit up with an intensity never seen before. The explosion threw him into the air, momentarily knocking him unconscious. When he came to, he was surrounded by chaos and destruction. He awoke to a scene of utter devastation. Buildings lay in ruins. Fires raged uncontrollably, consuming everything in their path. The air was thick with dust and the smell of burning flesh. The once vibrant city had turned into a hellish landscape. Injured and disoriented, Yamaguchi stumbled through the wreckage. He saw countless others, equally dazed and wounded, trying to make sense of the nightmare. He was suffering from severe burns and temporary blindness. The pain was excruciating, but he knew he had to keep moving. Despite his injuries, Yamaguchi managed to find his way to a shelter. It was a small reprieve from the chaos outside. He spent the night there, surrounded by the wounded and dying. The cries of pain and despair echoed through the shelter. The experience left an indelible mark on his soul. The horrors he witnessed would haunt him for the rest of his life. He had witnessed firsthand the horrors of nuclear war. The memory of that day would serve as a stark reminder of the devastating power of atomic weapons. A city of ash, a glimmer of hope. The following morning, Yamaguchi emerged from the shelter to a city transformed beyond recognition. Hiroshima was a wasteland of ash and rubble, a haunting reminder of the bomb's destructive power. The once familiar streets were now unrecognizable, twisted and charred beyond belief. The air was heavy with the stench of death, a grim testament to the lives lost. Despite the overwhelming devastation, Yamaguchi clung to hope, his spirit unbroken. He desperately wanted to return home to his family in Nagasaki, driven by love and determination. He made his way to the train station, his body aching, his mind reeling from the harrowing experience. The journey was arduous, filled with obstacles and dangers, but Yamaguchi persevered. He arrived in Nagasaki on August 8th, exhausted and traumatized, yet relieved to be closer to home. He carried with him the physical and emotional scars of Hiroshima, unaware that he was about to face another unspeakable horror, one that would test his resilience once more. Nagasaki, the unthinkable happens again. On August 9, 1945, just 3 days after Hiroshima, Yamaguchi dragged himself to his office in Nagasaki. As he recounted his experience to his disbelieving boss, the world outside was changing. At 11:02 a.m., a blinding flash illuminated the sky. It was another atomic bomb. Although this explosion occurred further away from Yamaguchi than the one in Hiroshima, the impact was still devastating. He was thrown to the ground, his eardrums ruptured, his burns worsened. Once again, he found himself caught in the inferno of an atomic blast. Section 5. A life scarred, a spirit unbroken. Yamaguchi survived the second bombing. He emerged from the rubble, his body battered but his spirit unbroken. He had stared death in the face twice and lived to tell the tale. In the aftermath, he struggled with radiation sickness, burns, and the psychological trauma of his experience. Despite the immense suffering he endured, Yamaguchi rebuilt his life. He married, had children, and returned to work. He carried the physical and emotional scars of the bombings, a constant reminder of the horrors he had witnessed. Yamaguchi's advocacy. Yamaguchi could have retreated into bitterness and anger. Instead, he chose to use his experience to advocate for peace and nuclear disarmament. He became a vocal opponent of nuclear weapons, speaking out against their use and the threat they posed to humanity. He shared his story with the world, hoping to prevent such atrocities from ever happening again. He spoke about the human cost of nuclear war, the suffering it inflicted, and the long-lasting consequences. His message was clear: the world must abandon these weapons of mass destruction. The moral reckoning: never again. Yamaguchi's story is a powerful reminder of the devastating impact of nuclear weapons. It's not just a story of survival, but a stark illustration of the consequences of unchecked aggression and the urgent need for peace. His experience forces us to confront the ethical implications of nuclear warfare. The bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki were pivotal moments in human history. They ushered in the nuclear age and presented the world with a stark choice: pursue peace or face annihilation. Yamaguchi's story embodies this choice. He reminds us that we have a responsibility to learn from the past and strive for a future free from the threat of nuclear war. Join us in advocating for a world without nuclear weapons. Visit our website and take action today. Tsutomu Yamaguchi's story is an extraordinary testament to the resilience of the human spirit. It's a story of survival, hope, and the power of one voice to make a difference. His experience, though unique, represents the suffering of countless individuals who lived through the horrors of atomic warfare. By sharing his story, Yamaguchi challenged the world to confront the reality of nuclear war and to choose peace over destruction. His legacy is a call to action, urging us to strive for a world free from the threat of nuclear annihilation.